of Michigan making inroads in the fight to contain the H5N1 strain of bird flu after once leading the nation in detected outbreaks. The state's Department of Health now working with farms to assess the risk and infection in dairy farm workers. Board-certified emergency room Dr. Michael Daignault has been out front on the bird flu, and he joins us now with more. Always good to have you.
Thank you. Good evening.
Let's talk more about how these tests in Michigan, how they're working on both dairy workers and milk products.
So what's great is that, Michigan had the highest number of outbreaks, and they offered farms $28,000 to participate in CDC research, which is great. It's giving the farm a lot of money to do testing, take care of what they need. And what they're going to do is blood test of the farm workers to see if they have the antibody to the H5N1, the bird flu virus, because they want to see if there's some sort of asymptomatic spread that's passing from farm worker to farm worker. Because like I mentioned last week, a lot of these herds are closed herds. So there's not a lot of movement of cattle between the herds. So the suspicion that we need to rule out to make sure that it's not being spread asymptomatically, because the farm workers are moving from herd to herd. They go from ranch to ranch, for example. So that's data that the CDC is just starting. And it's good to see this. It's good to see them on top of this. We need to be doing more of this. I'm glad we can report on this, that things are happening finally. So
well, and then we also got this news that Finland announcing that they will be the first to actually offer bird flu vaccine to humans.
So it's a company called CSL Seqirus, and 15 member nations of the EU. They purchased 40 million doses. It's a 2-dose vaccine. As you can remember, I don't know if you remember last year, there was a lot of mink and foxes, 500,000 that had to be destroyed because of exposure to bird flu. And so the workers in that industry, those animals that are in the fur industry, have a lot of exposure to wild animals that could be carrying bird flu. So this is going to be the first country in the world ever to protect their at-risk farm workers.
Well, then how soon do you think the U.S. would follow?
Well, I don't know. I mean, they bought 40 million doses from this company. I think we're waiting to see how it rolls out. I think the EU definitely is more out front, less bureaucratic when they want to get things done.
Yeah.
So
we have a lot of red tape in this country,
and I
don't we?
think that's, yeah, so we're certainly going to watch and see how this plays out with Finland.
Okay, so you have your scrubs on. You literally just came from the emergency room. You finished your shift. What you've been seeing a lot lately, and you see it in general, but we want to bring it to our viewers' attention, is cases of high blood pressure. People coming in, they have those home monitors, and then they have high blood pressure. What is your word to the wise?
So, high blood pressure is one of those risk factors for heart disease and stroke. And a lot of patients come to the ER and they use their home machine, they check it, it's elevated. So just some things to be aware of. There's a lot of good machines out there that you can buy online. You have to make sure you calibrate them. So you take it to your primary care doctor's office, you can take it to the ER, and we'll run both machines and just make sure the numbers are accurate to make sure that, your machine might be 10 points higher than the ER one. So that's something to take into consideration. So when you come to the ER, a lot of patients think that the high blood pressure is causing their symptoms, causing their headache, causing their chest pain. It's usually the other way around. And so I always have to explain to patients, any kind of stress, anxiety, you have an argument with a family member, your blood pressure is going to go up. And so patients come to the ER with the expectation that you're going to be given blood pressure medication. But I want to remind people that we always treat the underlying symptoms. So what's causing the blood pressure to go up? It's the stress, it's the anxiety. You need to reduce the stress in your life. You need to exercise more, eat less processed sodium-rich foods and things like that. And so the other thing to remember, as you get older, your arteries get calcified. So it becomes harder to treat blood pressure. So when you bring in your older relatives, your grandparents who have blood pressure, 160, 180, and they don't have symptoms, there's not much we're going to do, because we don't necessarily need to make that number look better if you're not having symptoms.
Okay, so that ultimately that's good news there.
Right, and that's why we're there. A lot of patients, I would strongly recommend, always trying to follow up with your primary care doctor. But when you call the primary care doctor's office, they're always going to direct you to the ER, especially if you give them a scary number, 160, 180, 200 blood pressure. And so,
but to your point, if they don't actually have any symptoms and they're fine, then don't worry about it.
And the other really important thing is when you check your blood pressure, you need to be sitting calmly for 30 minutes, feet on the floor.
Okay.
Don't just run and put the machine on. Like, make sure you get a calm.
I can imagine doing that too. Like,
put the blood pressure cuff on, wait a few minutes, and that'll give you the most accurate reading.
Okay.
Yeah.
If you want your question answered by Dr. Michael Daignault, you can send an email to askthedoctor@fox.com. Include your name and city if you'd like. Please, no other personal information is needed, and we'll get your question answered by him right here live on the air. We appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Good evening.
Okay.